Hello everyone. In this video we are going to learn about lateral ventricle. The lateral ventricle, as you can see the diagram, the two lateral ventricles of both the sides are shown in this diagram, right? Lateral ventricle, they are the cavities of the cerebral hemispheres. So the lateral ventricles are the two irregular cavities situated one in each cerebral hemisphere. Each lateral ventricle communicates with the third ventricle through an interventricular foramina or foramina of Monro, right? Now we already know that. Here also they have shown the interventricular foramina, right? You can see both the side lateral ventricle through the interventricular foramina is communicating with this third ventricle, okay? Each lateral ventricle, it consists of a central part and three horns, right? Anterior horn, posterior horn and inferior horn, right? I repeat again, each ventricle, lateral ventricle, it has total four parts. One is this, the central part, and another is three horns, anterior horn, posterior horn and inferior horn. Now one by one we will be taking all the parts in detail, right? First is the central part. Here you can see the boundaries of the central part. Okay. Now the central part, this part of the lateral ventricle, it extends from the interventricular foramina in front to the splenium of the corpus callosum behind. Okay. So what is the extension of the part? It is from the interventricular foramina to the in front to the splenium of the corpus callosum behind. Okay. For that you can also see one more diagram just to understand the exact location. Right, in this diagram you can see the interventricular foramina, it extends from interventricular foramina in front to the splenium of the corpus callosum behind, right? So this is the central area, you can say, this one. Now the boundaries, first the roof. In this you can see the roof is formed by the under surface of the corpus callosum, right? This corpus callosum is forming the roof of the central part of the lateral ventricle. Next, the floor, it is formed from the lateral to medial side by the body of the caudate nucleus. Then comes the stria terminalis, thalamostriate vein and the lateral portion of the upper surface of the thalamus, right? So these structures, they are forming the floor of the central part of the lateral ventricle. The medial wall is formed by the septum pellucidum and the body of the fornix. Okay, septum pellucidum and the body of the fornix, right? So this is the boundaries of the central part, right? Roof, floor and the medial wall. One more thing is added in the central part only, that is the choroid fissure. The line along which the choroid plexus invaginates into the lateral ventricle is called as the choroid fissure. You can see here the choroid fissure is shown, right? So again, in one more diagram you will be able to make out clearly. It is given in the book itself. Yes. Here in this you can see the C-shaped slit is shown, right? So that is choroid fissure. Okay. It starts, now this choroid fissure, it is a C-shaped slit in the medial wall of the cerebral hemisphere. It starts at the interventricular foramina above and in the front and passes around the thalamus and the cerebral peduncle to the uncus in the temporal lobe. Thus, it is present only in relation to the central part and the inferior horn, right? To the central part and inferior horn. In this two are only coming into the relation, right? And it is winding round the thalamus, right? So we know here third ventricle is there, you can see. So here it will be the part of the thalamus also. Its convex margin is bounded by fornix, that is body in the crus, and the fimbria and the hippocampus, and the concave margin is bounded by the thalamus, right? So convex margin, what is coming? This is the convex margin, and the inner is, this is the concave margin, right? In the convex margin, the relations you will find this fornix, fimbria and hippocampus, and concave margin is bounded by the thalamus. The tail of the caudate nucleus and stria terminalis. At the fissure, the pia mater and ependyma come in contact with each other, and both are invaginated into the ventricle by the choroid plexus. In the central part of the lateral ventricle, the choroid fissure is a narrow gap between the edge of the fornix and the upper surface of the thalamus. The gap is invaginated by the choroid plexus. Again, we will try to understand more. Here you can see all this again, the caudate nucleus, here the stria terminalis, right? All are again coming into relation to this choroid fissure and the plexus also, right? This is the fissure and this is the plexus that you can see, choroid plexus. Okay, so that is all about the central part and the choroid fissure in the plexus. Next is the anterior horn. For anterior horn, yes, you can see this diagram for the anterior horn. In the anterior horn, this is the part of the lateral ventricle which lies in front of the interventricular foramina and extends into the frontal lobe, right? We have just seen the anterior horn was present anteriorly, and so it is extending into the frontal lobe. It is directed forwards, laterally and downwards, and is triangular on cross section. Now the boundaries of the anterior horn. In boundaries, the anterior boundary is formed by the posterior surface of the genu and the rostrum of the corpus callosum. Okay, so this corpus callosum will be forming the roof and the anterior both, right? Posterior surface of the genu and the rostrum of the corpus callosum forms the anterior boundary, and the anterior part of the trunk of the corpus callosum, this area is forming the roof. Okay. The floor is formed by the head of the caudate nucleus and the upper surface of the rostrum of the corpus callosum again, right? So this is the caudate nucleus and this is forming the floor. So this area is the floor, right? In the middle they have shown the cavity of the anterior horn of the lateral ventricle. On the medial side, you will find the septum, pellucidum and the column of the fornix. This column of the fornix that are on the medial aspect. That is about the boundaries of the anterior horn. Next is the posterior horn. Okay, now this is the diagram for the posterior horn that you can see here. Okay, posterior horn, it is the part of the lateral ventricle which lies behind the splenium of the corpus callosum and extends into the occipital lobe. It is directed backwards and medially. Now the boundaries, the floor and the medial wall, they are formed by the bulb of the posterior horn you can see this is the bulb of the posterior horn raised by the forceps major, right? What is forceps major fibers? Here you can see the forceps major is raising the bulb of the posterior horn, right? Forceps major, we have already seen that they are the fibers of the corpus callosum, okay, splenial fibers of the corpus callosum. Then the calcar avis raised by the anterior part of the calcarine sulcus, right? That also you can see here the calcar avis is shown right here, that is raised by the calcarine sulcus. This calcarine sulcus, it is raising one part that is called as the calcar avis, right? We can see one more diagram to understand it better. Here in this diagram you can see this is calcar avis, right, and this is the calcarine sulcus. This calcarine sulcus is producing the calcar avis, okay. Similarly one more you will find, but later on we'll see that, okay. Coming back to original diagram here. Roof and the lateral wall is formed by the tapetum, right? Here you can see the tapetum that is forming the roof and the lateral wall, okay. So that is all about the posterior horn. Next is the inferior horn. You just have to give the introduction and the boundaries of the horns, okay. Inferior horn is the largest horn of the lateral ventricle. Here you can see the diagram for the inferior horn. It is the largest horn of the lateral ventricle, begins at the junction of the central part with the posterior horn of the lateral ventricle and extends into the temporal lobe, right? We have seen the anterior horn into the frontal lobe, posterior into the occipital lobe, and the inferior into the temporal lobe. Now the boundaries, the roof and the lateral wall, it is formed chiefly by the, you can see here, tapetum, right? Then comes the tail of the caudate nucleus, right? You can see here the tail of the caudate nucleus. Then comes the stria terminalis and amygdaloid body, okay. These four structures, right? This is forming the roof of the inferior horn, right? This is a cavity of the inferior horn that is shown. Then the floor, it is formed by the collateral eminence raised by the collateral sulcus, right? As we have seen calcar avis, similarly here you have a collateral eminence that is raised by this sulcus, that is the collateral sulcus. Hippocampus medially, right? This is hippocampus that is forming again the floor medially. In the inferior horn, the line of the ependymal invagination by the choroid plexus, that is the choroid fissure, lies between the stria terminalis and fimbria. You can see the choroid plexus is present between the stria terminalis above and the fimbria below, right? So in the inferior horn it is present here, okay. So that is all about the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle and about the lateral ventricle as a whole. Bye.